What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and each and every day that goes by, it seems that Dave Chappelle was just that much more accurate in the way that he described the extreme activists in the transgender community, because each and every day, they continue to prove him right. Not only by trying to get him canceled, by pulling these ridiculous protests and these ridiculous virtue signals at Netflix headquarters, but also by continuing to attack and dox the very same person that started this entire controversy for Dave Chappelle during The Closer, when he talked about how some people in the transgender community treated J.K. Rowling and what they did to J.K. Rowling, because once again, they are after her. Take a look at this headline from Bounding Into Comics. J.K. Rowling reveals her address was doxed, says it will not stop her from speaking up for women's sex-based rights. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling took to Twitter to reveal her home address was doxed in what she believes is an attempt to intimidate her. However, Rowling defiantly stated the effort would not stop her from, quote, speaking up for women's-based sex rights. And J.K. Rowling is a perfect example of someone who nearly wholeheartedly agrees with woke ideology, with social justice messaging, with all these different virtue signals. But she is proof that if you step 1 foot out of line, if you have one opinion that differs from that of the woke mob, they will try to cancel you. Much the same with Dave Chappelle to a lesser extent, to be honest with you. Dave Chappelle believes in a lot of these causes that these activists claim that they care about. Yet if you have one thing that you fall out of line with, they will try to destroy your entire life. And that's what J.K. Rowling has been dealing with for years, to be honest with you. Rowling took to Twitter where she wrote this. Last Friday, my family's address was posted on Twitter by 3 activist actors who took pictures of themselves in front of our house, carefully positioning themselves to ensure that our address was visible. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who reported the image to Twitter support. Your kindness and decency made all the efforts to my family and me. I'd also like to thank the Scotland Police for their support and assistance in this matter. I implore those people who retweeted the image with the address still visible, even if they did so in condemnation, to please delete it. So activists, transgender, queer, LGBTQ plus IA213, whatever you want to call these groups of individuals, the extreme activists within this community decided to go and protest outside J.K. Rowling's house and display her address for the world to see. Now, I do think that probably in all likelihood, a lot of people know where J.K. Rowling lives. I think that it's pretty well known that she has a massive house, but at the same time, these people are clearly trying to target her. We're clearly trying to target her for her views on biology. And by that, I mean she believes in biology. She believes that biological women are women, and that's about it. And she believes in transgender rights. She believes in all these things. She supports trans people, except when it comes to directly calling them something that they are not, and that is biological women. And Dave Chappelle, like I said, Dave Chappelle talked about this. It was not more than a month and a half ago that Dave Chappelle was getting criticized for supporting J.K. Rowling. This is from today. Dave Chappelle criticized for defending J.K. Rowling a new Netflix comedy special. TERF stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists, a term used to describe feminists whose views about gender are seen as anti-trans. The comedian Dave Chappelle is being criticized on social media for comments about trans people in his latest Netflix special, particularly a defense of Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, who has been accused of transphobia for years. And here's what Dave Chappelle said that got them so upset. They canceled J.K. Rowling. My God. Effectually, she said gender was a fact. The trans community got mad as shit. They started calling her a TERF, Chappelle said, referring to trans exclusionary radical feminists who views about gender seen as anti-trans. He added, I'm team TERF. Gender is a fact. His comments drew swift backlash. Of course, there were a lot of people who consider themselves activists or allies or extreme freaks, whatever they want to think of themselves as. They came back, and we saw what happened throughout the course of the next month. They did everything they could to get Netflix to pull this special down. Netflix did not cave. Dave Chappelle only grew in popularity because the vast majority of people support what Dave Chappelle said. And if they don't, they realize that it's part of a comedy routine. So the activists screamed and they cried, and they're in the vast minority of people, and they did not get their way, and that made them extremely upset. In the same way that they're still upset that J.K. Rowling is rich. She still has a nice house. She still has all of these things, even though they do everything they can to get the actual Harry Potter actors and actresses and everything like that to ignore her completely. She's already more successful than they could ever imagine being, which is one of the reasons they get so upset about that. J.K. Rowling added on, though, over the last few years, I've watched appalled as women like all of these people. I don't really know a lot of these people, so I can't really tell you too much, but these people that do not have a large public profile, but who have contacted me to relate their experiences, have been subject to campaigns of intimidation, which range from being hounded on social media, the targeting of their employers, all the way up to doxing and direct threats of violence, including rape. So it gets pretty extreme from these activists. And when you search J.K. Rowling, you have a lot of different things from people supporting her and saying they're team J.K. Rowling and standing up for her, to people that are just absolutely disgusting, wishing vile things upon her, all because she doesn't agree with one opinion that they have. The woke mob agrees with J.K. Rowling on virtually everything except this one thing, and that's not enough. That one thing is enough for them to want to cancel her, to destroy her, to want her in the sidewalk, in the gutter, dead. Because that's just how evil and disgusting these people are. They cannot handle it if someone has a different opinion than them. We witnessed that for the past month and a half with Dave Chappelle. We've seen it from the cancel culture mob over and over again. Twitter is not real life. These people get a lot of interaction on Twitter because of what Twitter is. About 20% of the United States, at least, uses Twitter. That skews heavily female, or identifying as female, heavily liberal, and heavily young. That is why Twitter is not a good representation of actual reality. And it explains why so many stupid people continue to get interaction on this godforsaken website. But J.K. Rowling once again exposing these people for the disgusting losers that they are. And she put out the names of the people that actually tried to dox her, who took the pictures in front of her house to try to get people to go there through intimidation. J.K. Rowling once again showing that you shouldn't go woke, because if you do, if you try to virtue signal all this stuff, it does not matter. These people will not accept you unless you fully align and fully bend the knee to their ideology. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.